Have you ever pulled into a gas station in a rental car, or maybe even your friend's car, and had that moment of complete panic? You have a 50-50 chance of getting it right, but you inevitably choose the wrong side, stretching the hose across the trunk like a complete amateur. Well, what if I told you there's a tiny, hidden feature on most modern cars that solves this problem forever? It's a little secret hiding in plain sight, a small symbol that most drivers go their entire lives without ever noticing. Today, I'm going to show it to you, and it's going to change how you approach the gas station. So, what is this magical feature? It's a tiny triangle, a small arrow, located right on your fuel gauge. Yes, that's it. Look closely next to the little gas pump icon on your dashboard. You'll see it. This arrow points either to the left or to the right, and its purpose is brilliantly simple. It tells you which side of the car your fuel door is on. If the arrow points left, your fuel door is on the driver's side. If the arrow points right, it's on the passenger's side. It's an incredibly straightforward and useful piece of information, presented in the most discreet way possible. But you probably have. Car dashboards are filled with so much information, lights, symbols, numbers, and warnings, that our brains are trained to filter out the non-essential stuff. We glance at the gauge to see how much fuel we have, and we completely ignore the tiny pictogram next to it. It's one of those classic quirks and features that is so subtle, yet so useful, that once you see it, you'll wonder how you ever lived without it. It's a genuine light bulb moment for so many drivers. This simple indicator is a testament to thoughtful automotive design. Car manufacturers realize that with the growing variety of vehicles on the road from different countries and with different design philosophies, a standardized hint was needed. A driver might switch from a Japanese car, which often has the filler on the left, to a German car, which frequently has it on the right. Instead of forcing you to get out and check or awkwardly crane your neck in the side view mirror, they just gave you a little arrow. It's a quiet, helpful nod from the engineers who built your car. So where did this brilliant little arrow come from? Its history isn't ancient, but it stems from a very practical problem. For decades, the location of the fuel filler door was a bit of a Wild West. There was no industry standard, and automakers placed it wherever it was most convenient for their specific chassis design. Drivers simply had to remember which side it was on for their particular car. This was fine when people only drove their own vehicle, but the rise of the rental car industry in the latter half of the 20th century created a new kind of confusion for travelers. No more guessing games. The feature started appearing sporadically on cars in the late 1980s, but it was Ford that gets a lot of credit for popularizing it. An engineer named Jim Moylan reportedly came up with the idea in 1986 after getting frustrated with a rental car at a gas station. He pitched the idea of adding a simple indicator to the instrument cluster, and by 1989, it began appearing on Ford vehicles like the Escort Mercury Tracer. Other automakers saw the simple genius of the idea and slowly began to adopt it. It was a cheap, easy-to-implement solution that offered a real benefit to the driver. The widespread adoption of the fuel arrow really took off in the mid to late 1990s, early 2000s. It required no new mechanical parts, just a tiny adjustment to the printed gauge face or a few lines of code for a digital screen. The reason for the different placements in the first place often has to do with engineering and safety. In countries where people drive on the left side of the road, having the fuel filler on the left, the curb side, can be safer for roadside refueling. Conversely, in right-hand traffic countries, a right-side filler is safer. However, global manufacturing means this rule is often broken. The arrow became the great equalizer, a universal language that works no matter where the car was built or where it's being driven. It's a small detail that bridges a gap in global automotive design. Now for the practical part, how to use this newfound knowledge to achieve gas station supremacy. First, you need to locate the arrow on your own car. The next time you get in, turn the key to the on position. Dashboard lights up. Look directly at your fuel gauge. you should see an icon that looks like a classic gas pump. Right next to that icon, a small solid triangle. Triangle points left, triangle points right. That's your target. Its direction is the only thing that matters. Here are 3 real tips to make this a part of your driving routine. First, make it a habit to check the arrow before you even pull into the gas station. As you're approaching, a quick glance down at the dash will tell you whether you need to aim for a pump on your left or your right. This saves you from that awkward multi-point turn to reposition your car. You'll look like a seasoned pro who has it all figured out, even in a car you've never driven before. Second, this is an absolute game changer for rental cars. The moment you get into a rental, before you even pull out of the parking spot, take 30 seconds to familiarize yourself with the basic controls and make finding the fuel arrow part of that check. You'll likely have to refuel the car before you return it, and knowing which side the tank is on from the very beginning will save you a headache later. It's a simple trick that takes the stress out of driving an unfamiliar vehicle. Finally, a third tip. Use it to your advantage in crowded stations. If you see a long line of cars waiting for the pumps on the right, but the pumps on the left are wide open, a quick check of your arrow might reveal that you can skip the entire queue. If your car's fuel door is on the left, you can sail right past the waiting masses and pull up to an empty pump. It feels like having a secret VIP pass. You're not just saving time, you're actively outsmarting the situation, all thanks to a tiny arrow. Of course, this being the automotive world, there are always exceptions and oddballs that defy the norm. While the fuel arrow is nearly universal on modern cars, it's not a 100% guarantee. Some older cars, particularly those from before the mid-1990s, will simply not have it. On my 1994 Land Rover Defender, for example, you're on your own. You just have to remember that the filler cap is on the right side, just behind the passenger door. It's a bit of old-school charm that forces you to actually know your car. Then you have the truly quirky examples. Some cars hide the fuel door in bizarre places, making an arrow seem almost redundant. Take the classic 1956 Chevrolet Bel Air. Its fuel filler is hidden behind the driver's side taillight, which swings open on a hinge. No arrow on the dash could properly explain that one. Another strange one is the Jaguar XJ from the 70s and 80s, which had dual fuel tanks with a separate filler cap on top of each rear fender. You had a switch on the dash to choose which tank to draw from, making the single arrow system obsolete. Even some more recent cars can be exceptions. For a while, Porsche didn't include the arrow on some of its models, perhaps assuming their discerning owners would simply know their vehicles inside and out. The Porsche Carrera GT, one of the wildest supercars ever made, lacks the arrow. You just have to know that its fuel filler is on the front right fender. Also, some minimalist or ultra-luxury cars with fully digital configurable dashboards might hide the indicator within a menu, or they might display the fuel pump icon itself on the side of the gauge that corresponds to the filler door. So, while the arrow is an incredibly reliable guide for the vast majority of cars you'll encounter today, it's always good to be prepared for the exceptions. If you hop into a car and can't find the arrow after a thorough search of the instrument cluster, the old-fashioned method still works. Just stick your head out the window and look in your side view mirror. But 99 times out of 100, that little arrow will be there, waiting patiently to guide you. So, what's the big reveal here? The fun part is that this tiny, insignificant-looking arrow can genuinely save you time, a little bit of stress embarrassment. It costs the automaker practically nothing to add, and yet gives a real benefit at every fuel stop. It's the peak of simple, effective design. Once you know about it, you feel in on a secret millions of drivers don't know. Think about the cumulative effect. Maybe it only saves 30 seconds each fill-up. Fill up once a week, that's 26 minutes a year. Over a lifetime, it adds up a small victory. A tiny life hack for a mundane chore. It's the difference between a smooth, seamless stop and a frustrating one. Blocking a lane, fumbling with the pump, feeling the impatient glares of the drivers waiting behind you. Many miss it because no one told them to look. It's not in the owner's manual under Magic Arrow, it's institutional knowledge among car enthusiasts, now shared with you. Cars are full of thoughtful small details if you look. Appreciate the engineers who designed the dashboard detail. So, try it next time. Find the arrow. Use it to pick your pump. Then, share the tip. Tell your friends, your family, anyone who will listen. Watch their reaction when they realize they missed this for years. You'll give them a small gift of knowledge. It's a simple trick. You won't forget it. If this blew your mind, hit like, subscribe for more unknown car facts, and share this with the one friend who always picks the wrong pump. That tiny triangle just saved your day.